I want to welcome you back to the D-Lo Show. I am your host, Ryan D-Lo Delosier, and yesterday I posted a podcast on Operation Net Nanny, and today I want to do an update. It was on mostly focusing on Fred Thompson as being one of the guys, one of the pedophiles that they ran up in this ring and that they convicted of. So what I want to do today is I want to focus on another individual that was also in this case, and his name is Hayden Erlandson. So Hayden Erlandson, he was one who was convicted a little bit earlier, and I pulled all this information from an article. It's Yakima jury convicts man in child rape prosecution by Attorney General's office. This is from the Attorney General Nick Brown, and this was released on October 23rd of 2023. So this is a little bit older information, but I just found it interesting to go back because this one also includes a probable cause affidavit that was used to arrest Mr. Erlandson, the pedophile Erlandson. So I'll read it through it. So the Yakima County jury convicted Hayden A. Erlandson of felony attempted second-degree rape of a child and communicating with a minor for immoral purposes, following a criminal prosecution by Attorney General Bob Ferguson. Sentencing will occur on November 22nd. Erlandson, 25, faces a standard sentencing range for felony attempted second-degree rape of a child of 6 years, 3 months to 8 years, 6 months in prison, with a maximum penalty of life in prison and a maximum fine of $50,000. Communicating with a minor for immoral purposes has a maximum sentence of 5 years imprisonment and a maximum fine of $10,000. This was the second trial by the Attorney General's office stemming from charges related to a November 2019 Net Nanny law enforcement operation in Yakima in which undercover officers pose as children or parents of children on online sexual encounter websites such as Craigslist. That's where a lot of these were found. So the Attorney General's office accepted 6 case referrals from Yakima County Prosecuting Attorney Joseph Brusick following that operation and recently accepted 3 additional cases. 4 of those cases resulted in guilty pleas before trial. And on September 18th, a Yakima County jury convicted another defendant of felony attempted second-degree rape of a child and communicating with a minor for immoral purposes. Here was a quote from Mr. Ferguson. "My prosecutors work hard to protect children from predators." Man, that's great. I think that's one of the things. We need to do that more. We need our prosecutors to protect our children from these predators. They're out there. They are out there. And I think the internet opens up all sorts of doors for these predators and avenues for them to be able to go find their prey, which is these kids. And they are predators looking for prey. So we need to make sure that we are looking out for them. Our kids are sheep, and we need to be wolves around and trying to take out the threats that come into our area. We need to protect our children, and all the children are our children. Operations like these are critical to the safety of Washington's youth. Again, that was from Bob Ferguson. So the background of this case, the prosecution of Erlandson was one of 9 cases the Attorney General's office is handling from a November 2019 Net Nanny operation in Yakima. State, local, and federal law enforcement officers conducted the operation, which the Washington State Patrol Missing and Exploited Children's Task Force coordinated and led. Detectives posed online as minors interested in sex, or alternatively, as individuals offering minors for sex. For example, what they were doing is Washington State Patrol would go online and pose as a mother who was trying to have her 11 or 13-year-old daughter be introduced to some sexual activity by someone, and needed someone to show them how to do that. They had to show them the ropes, How are they going to learn? Well, yeah, they need to find some sick individual, and then those guys need to be found out and be arrested. And that's what this whole operation was about. So the Attorney General's office does not have the authority to initiate criminal investigations unless it receives and accepts a referral from a county prosecutor or the governor. So, in November 15th of 2019, As detailed in Erlandson's affidavit of probable cause, Erland replied to an online profile created by an undercover task force detective on an online dating and social media site. And I have the breakdown of that, so I want to kind of go through this. This is actually from the probable cause affidavit, and it says on November 15th through the 19th of 2019, Washington State Patrol Missing Exploited Children's Task Force, in partnership with several local and federal partners, conducted an online undercover operation dubbed Operation Net Nanny in Yakima County, Washington. And so on November 15th, Detective James Taylor was operating in an undercover role as a 13-year-old girl on a social media application. Detective Taylor's profile was of a female aged 39. Detective Taylor's profile picture was of an undercover female officer in a white hoodie with furry heart ears and a small black nose covering her face. Detective Taylor's description in his undercover persona read as follows: I am in Yakima, Washington, young, short, and sassy, very independent. Detective Taylor received a direct message from Hayden at approximately 21:44. That's 11:44 at night on November 15th of 2019, which read WYD, like, what are you doing tonight? With a tongue emoji, then another at approximately 1:38 in the morning on November 16th of 2019, which read, wanna hang out? And then, quote, Hayden was later identified through law enforcement databases as Erlandson. The undercover replied on November 16th, 2019 with, and I quote, morning at approximately 9:42 hours. Erlandson replied, oh, how'd you sleep? And then morning. Undercover engaged in a brief description of her events the night before, as did Erlandson. Erlandson direct message, you partying again tonight? Which Undercover replied, maybe if I can find someone to kick it with. Erlandson replied, well, let's kick it. And with an emoji with a yellow face with its tongue sticking out. Undercover replied, maybe if you're down with younger. Erlandson responded, how old? And which Undercover replied, don't freak out if I tell you. Which Erlandson replied, okay. And so the Undercover replied with, okay, I'm 13. And Erlandson stated that the Undercover didn't look 13, from the photo that was available on the social media site. Erlandson direct message of the Undercover officer, I mean, it's whatever. We friends up in here, with an emoji of a person with their hands up in the air right before the words, it's whatever. Undercover advised that was code for that she was into older men. So Erlandson direct message the Undercover, Netflix and chill, Disney Plus, and thrust, emoji laughing so hard that it's crying. Ugh, like Disney Plus and thrust, I've heard Netflix and chill, I did not know that, and that, yes, anyway, wow. You could do it. 2 more emojis of them laughing so hard they're crying, which Undercover replied, oh, that's naughty and possibly daddy. And Erlandson advised he wanted to kick it and that he wanted to exchange pictures. Oh, just great. We're trading child porn. Undercover advised Erlandson she couldn't see the pictures and asked if he wanted to text. Erlandson direct messaged her, and I quote, sure, text me. And then there was a number, 509-379-0276. And Undercover replied, okay, one sec. And the following communications were exchanged over text message. It is not a complete record of the conversation. For that, you need to refer to the charts. The Undercover girl is labeled as outgoing, and Erlandson's text message are labeled as incoming. So there is a series of text messages on here, which I will link up in the description. You can find this. It's on, it's available. It's readily available to anyone who wants to search this right here. It goes through the whole text message exchange, which leads to Erlandson, finding his way to the house. It's actually interesting because he is working his way over to the house, I might run through some of this. We'll just see anyways. But he's heading over, and he ends up, like taking a selfie out in front of a Wendy's to let the person know that he's there. And then eventually he it arrives at the house, and says on November 16th, 2019, Erlandson followed the instructions of the undercover girl and drove to a predetermined meet location, C, in Yakima County, Washington. And at approximately 6:16 hours, Erlandson sent the undercover girl a selfie showing himself at the Wendy's with the Wendy's location in the background. And surveillance units observed that were nearby watching. They observed Erlandson in the lot at the predetermined location spot C, which is not labeled right here. It's just some spot where they had him at. And at approximately 6:17 hours, the undercover girl sent Erlandson to the undercover house address. And at approximately 6:34 hours, Erlandson arrived at the undercover house and entered the residence. So the door was left open. He could just walk right in. And Erlandson was placed into custody right as soon as he walked in. So if you ever remember the shows, To Catch a Predator, the guy would walk into the house and there was Chris Hansen standing there. And Chris Hansen would point to the seat and be like, hey, why don't you have a seat over here? And he'd tell him about what was going on and about it's a little different when this happens because you walk in and it's not a news crew there. It is the SWAT team there waiting for you. So a little different than what you get. I mean, in TV, you get a little ridicule and stuff, but these ones are set up as a sting operation that is made to put these predators in jail. I know it was To Catch a Predator before, and we try to just catch, like in those, they just caught people doing things wrong. These ones are specifically set up, and the statutes are set so that we are catching these criminals so that we can put them in jail. There's been some extensive penalties that have gone along with these. These guys have done a little bit of time. The ones that are, I'll try to run through those again here and see who has been arrested for what. So, but when they go through, when he arrives at the location, when he arrives in the house, Erlandson was placed into custody without incident. And then during the search of the search incident to arrest, there were 2 condoms and a cell phone that were located. And undercover detective Taylor also sent a test text to the number he was communicating with Erland at it says 18:36 hours, so 6 hours or 6:36 in the evening, and it was successfully received. Erlandson, of course, invoked his rights, and an interview was not conducted. So he took his Fifth Amendment's right to free himself from self-incrimination, and then he was transported to the Yakima County Jail, where he was booked on 1 count of attempted rape of a child in 2nd degree. So that was the probable cause affidavit, which allowed for us to be able to, not for us, but for the police department to be able to arrest him. Some previous guilty pleas that went along with this as well, too. So that was one just with Erlandson. Erlandson, again, was guilty of attempted rape that went along with that. So there are a lot of these cases that went along with this as well, too. And again, going through some of these, like just some of these that we've been going through, it's been very interesting to read some of the cases, and just kind of see, how they ended up. There was 16 individuals in all that were caught up in this. And I wanted to look back because I did have a review of this that I went through and I covered it up on yesterday's episode. And I don't remember how long he was in jail for, but I'm going to take a look and see, just see if I had that on here. So yeah, it was pretty crazy how many of these individuals that were caught up in this sting. And I did have them all in here. I'm going to look up his name, just do a quick little search right here and see if I can find him. So Hayden A. Erlandson, he was 22, and he was convicted of attempted rape of a child in the 1st degree, and he was sentenced to 356 months to life. And he pursued a 13-year-old girl and then brought condoms and was arrested on site. So that was kind of his story that went along with that, as they caught him in this sting. There's 15 others. The one I talked with you about yesterday was Fred Thompson. So I'm going to continue to cover a few more of these as we go through. I think it's interesting that we are catching these people, and I appreciate the Washington State Patrol for doing what they do to be able to nail these guys. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead. Keep following, keep subscribing. I don't know how long I'm going to keep covering some of these. It's kind of been, Mondays, we do Murder Mondays. I've been covering some of the local murder cases. Tuesdays has always been, or not always, but it's starting to become like a Idaho 4 update. And then the rest of the week, just as I cover things, I probably won't do something every day, but this week so far, I've got a new podcast every day. And if you like the content, subscribe. I'm going to keep it rolling out. But in the meantime, take care of yourself. Take care of the kids that are underneath us. Make sure you're watching out for them because we need to be looking out for people that are around us to make sure that they are safe. It is a strange world out there, and there are strange people that want to do bad things. And I think the internet's a great thing, but it creates this avenue for people to be able to just do all sorts of stuff, all sorts of kinds of evil, all sorts of good stuff, but all sorts of kind of evil too. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a great day.